Hi, I'm going to make a short tutorial about preparing your images for display on web devices. Okay, so we're going to have to look at color space, resizing your image, and web compression. Okay, so first up, let's look at the color space. I'm looking for color settings underneath the edit menu, and I want to be working in an RGB color space, and sRGB is what I want to see. Standard red, green and blue color space. We do have an Adobe RGB color space option, but actually, although it says it offers a wider gamut, in truth, in real terms, it kind of doesn't. In truth, it kind of compresses certain bandwidths of color and makes it more difficult to get accurate color calibration from your monitor to your print. So stick with sRGB, standard RGB color space. We'll look at the image size. Image size is currently being controlled by this menu. So image size, my dimensions in pixels are pretty big. You've got to think about your output device. What are most people going to be looking at your image on? Is it a handheld device? Is it a monitor, or is it a 4K TV? You've got to think about the output device and then compress and resize your image for that specific device. So as you can't always tell what people are going to be using on, you go for a kind of a happy medium whereby you're using the right image quality that's going to cover a whole bunch of devices. So at this point, a width of 4,239 pixels is probably too great, because most people, even if they're working on a nice big 27-inch iMac, aren't going to be using 4,239 pixels. So let's think proportionally. Okay, so for me, I would say width, let's change that down to say 800, and you'll see, because I've got the constraint proportions locked, it also changes the height value as well. So that's cool, and we've gone from a 70 meg file down to a 2.50 meg or less than 3 meg file. So already we've done a huge amount of compression. Let it do its thing, shrinks the file. So let's just zoom in so we can have a little look at it. How does it stand up? So imagine somebody's viewing that on their screen. For display purposes, it's probably absolutely fine. What I would recommend is, if you've got any layers at this point, let's collapse those. So flatten the image. We're dealing with a 2.5 meg image, and now we need to get it ready for web. So we'll use the save for web compression, okay, and resizing. So the size has already been done for us. We could, of course, resize it further here if we needed to, but we don't in this instance. Okay. But you can see that the preset up here is JPEG. For photographic images, this is kind of what you're always going to be using. You're going to be using JPEG, which is the best for displaying millions of colors. If you've got alpha channels or animation, or perhaps lower image logos and things that you want to use, you're going to use GIF for animation, PNG24 if you're going to use alpha channels. These two, PNG8, you're probably not going to want to use these. This is a wireless bitmap image format, which is black and white, low resolution. So for you, you're going to be photographs. Basically, you're going to be using JPEG. PNG is what they call a lossless compression format. Lossless literally means that although the image is being compressed in size, there's no data loss. So therefore, there's no image loss in that. The resulting file, of course, is slightly larger. And in truth, although JPEG is what they call a lossy file format, there is data loss, but in real terms you're not really going to be able to see that data loss if you're careful with your quality settings. So using a quality setting of 50, we've got a file size now which is only 60 kilobytes. And if you've seen that there's 1024 kilobytes inside 1 meg, this is a tiny file and will load fast and easy on people's handheld devices if they're using wireless networks, etc. Which is kind of what you want to do. You want to be thinking of the end user, and you want to make sure that life is as easy and quick for them as possible, so they're not waiting for these big heavy files to load down from the internet. Okay, so 50 gives you a 60 kilobyte file. Let's step that up to 60. Hit Tab on the keyboard to refresh the settings. We've got an 83 kilobyte file now. I would say anything less than 200k is absolutely fine. So I put that up to 80. I've got a file of 161k, which is really still very small. The detail looks pretty decent. We can zoom in and look at what we're getting. Okay, so let's look at these settings. If I put it on maximum and I put it on 50, keep an eye on things. You see much data loss. You see a little bit of data loss. Right down at 3, you can see how the quality deteriorates. So this quality setting is entirely up to you. Where you've got to pitch it between this figure down here and the quality of the image that you're getting. Okay. So I'm going to go for something like 80%. It's going to give me a 164, and that, although I'm zoomed in quite heavily, if I zoom out a little bit, you'll see no one's going to be examining that on their mobile phone, seeing the quality's not there. Okay. So I'm going to embed the color profile, which, as you know, is sRGB. I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to save it into one of my libraries, or picture libraries, and I'll just pop it inside here for time being. Just make a new folder. I'll call it web ready. So I'll put my web ready images inside there. If I go across now into my pictures, look inside my web ready folder. I don't have it. Where have I saved it? Maybe I didn't save it there. So there it is. I accidentally didn't save it inside there, so I'll just move it into there. Okay, so here's my web ready image. Let's look at the properties. It's a JPEG. It recognizes, no, that's a preset on my computer. It opens with Adobe Photoshop, and it's 168 kilobytes. That's not even 2/10 of 1 megabyte, so a pretty small file. Will load fast. Let's have a little look at it. Okay, so that's it loaded back on the screen. There's the original on the left. I'm actually clicking through. There's the original on the left. Here's the web ready image. Let's see. I'll zoom in. I don't know about you, but I'm not suddenly aware of a terrible image loss. You will when you zoom in a little bit, I guess. You might see a little bit more. But as you can see, really, you're not seeing much image loss at all. The actual data has definitely disappeared. Perhaps, as I say, it's a lossy format, so there is data loss. But in real terms, no one's really seeing it, if you're careful. Okay, so that kind of wraps it up. Nice little easy walkthrough. I hope that works. Okay.